New info on Pokemon Switch, and the crowd goes wild. What's up, everybody? It's Zach from Switch Force. I've got Jake and Gabe here. A very awesome interview with Tsunekazu Ishihara, Chief Executive Officer at the Pokemon Company, released, and he talked Pokemon Go, he talked Pokemon Company, he talked the new Pokemon game for Switch. Obviously, we are waiting with bated breath for any morsel of information about this new game. We know we're getting Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon on the 3DS later this fall. People thought Pokemon Stars may come to Switch, but it looks like we're getting a brand new Pokemon adventure on the Switch eventually. And I'm going to go through the quotes right off the bat, and then we will dive into sort of our discussion and our take on them. Here are some of the key things that Mr. Ishihara, forgive me if that's incorrect pronunciation, but that he said. With the Switch, we see it as a chance to create Pokemon that goes deeper and with a higher level of expression. As a result, that makes it an extremely important platform. Right now, we're using 7 to 8 inch screens, but on a high-definition TV, you can express a whole different world with graphics and sound. Until now, games were made as one for one person, but now you can go home and play with everyone. So how do we tackle these themes, and how do we make sure it's not complicated? I can't say that we'll release accessories, but I'd like to think of that possibility. And finally, unlike smartphones, the Switch is not a game device that assumes that there's constant network connectivity. So from our perspective, it's really not that different from DS or 3DS in terms of connectivity. So there are 5 quotes, all directly related to Pokemon Switch. Where should we begin?
I think what we should start with is the very first thing. It says Pokemon that goes deeper with a higher level of expression. I can't speak to the higher level of expression, but going deeper. I mean, how cool would it be for some skill trees or some maybe armor for your Pokemon? And I know that kind of sounds weird, like armor on Pokemon doesn't make the most sense, but I'm just thinking of how to evolve the RPG mechanics that are already there in a already technically sound RPG on 3DS.
Yeah, maybe like focus more instead of trying to fill your Pokedex and collect as many Pokemon as you can. It's more like you start with a team. Either they give you a team or you just early on catch Pokemon, and then it's focused on, like you said, like skill trees or like leveling them up and applying specific like skill points or experience points to each Pokemon. More focused on like the battling and making like customizing your team to how you want to fight, as opposed to just the more basic level and trying to catch as many Pokemon and try different Pokemon out.
I mean, I know that this is all pipe dreams, but I think it would be fun to have like online play, right? Like if my Pikachu is fighting against Zach's Pikachu, but our Pikachus don't have the same stats and they don't have the same moves because I decided to level mine up differently. Like, I think that would be interesting. Again,
yeah, like a quick, fast Pikachu against like a hulking, strong defense Pikachu.
Yeah, and to me, like that's what I take away from like the going deeper. Because like, I mean, what else could you do? Or I mean, I guess you could do a lot since the 3DS versions are pretty simple.
Bro, you could still do my dream of an open world Pokemon where you control the Pokemon and fight other Pokemon.
I mean, yeah,
I think that when they say this, they probably mean more of your interaction with the Pokemon and the world around you. For me personally, what you guys are saying definitely appeals, but I still think that Nintendo and Pokemon Company are determined to make this an accessible title. And so I think deeper, higher level expression, we're talking like world detail, exploration, ways to bring the Pokemon more to life. And that kind of goes to the second quote where they say, on high definition TV, you can express a whole different world with graphics and sound. This would obviously be the first time that a Pokemon game would be able to be in 1080p and be able to be fully realized on a big screen TV and look super pretty. So we get the sense that this is not a port. He's not talking about Stars, obviously. He's talking about something completely new. And we did see those job listings and things earlier on for people that could do more 3D models and could take the creatures, the Pokemon, to the next level. And so I wonder if it's more focused that way in sort of the presentation of the Pokemon, less the stats, less the mechanics, and more just your experience with the world. I feel like Pokemon Go took things to a point where like, hey, I'm interacting with these Pokemon in my world, and here with high definition graphics and sound, higher level of expression, it seems like they want to sort of bring not the AR aspect to the Switch, but just more immersing you in a more fully realized Pokemon land.
The key word is expression, so it's going to be lots of Pokemon facial expression.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't think that the things that I said are going to happen. I'm just saying, like, that would be cool. As someone who played the early Pokemon games and up to like probably like Gold and Silver, but after that, like, kind of like fell off of it for a little while. I mean, I played Ruby as well, but
they're going to have that mini game where you stretch Mario's face from Mario 64, except now you just get to do that with any Pokemon, and Jake's going to go wild.
Emojis. Or like, what if they kind of combine like the Breath of the Wild like scale and like scope of how like vast and big it is? So like instead of just running around kind of on a 2D plane, you can like climb mountains and go in caves and collect Pokemon or catch Pokemon that way, or like just like you're saying, like have a more vast and interactive world that's more than just running around in tall grass.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and
go ahead.
The next one, where he says, games were made as for one person, but now you can go home and play with everyone. How do we tackle these themes? How do we make sure it's not complicated? This seems to be tapping into the multiplayer focus of the Switch platform, and especially the local multiplayer focus, since he says you go home and play with everyone. I mean, that could refer to online, but I'm going to just make some conjecture here and say, do you think they're thinking about any sort of local multiplayer, any sort of co-op play?
I think they have to. It's paramount to what the Switch is. I think Nintendo does a good job of specifically making sure that games that are published by them like have some kind of co-op or multiplayer in them, just to exhibit the things that the Switch can do with coming with 2 Joy-Con out of the box. This is very off topic, but Travis Strikes Again is a game that traditionally is a single player experience, but even Suda51 is talking about like multiplayer being important. So I think Nintendo is like making like a conscious effort to make sure that that's on there.
And we know that they have Pokkén Tournament DX obviously on the Switch coming out, so it's probably not going to be anything where you're controlling the Pokemon in like a fighting style game, but they could do something like incorporate like a Pokemon Stadium type battle system where you can use the Pokemon that you've collected already and like do one-on-one battles at home with single Joy-Con play or something like that. I could see that happening in like a typical Pokemon RPG, just adding a kind of a side multiplayer experience.
Right, and I think right now we're thinking in the context of what we've seen from Pokemon X and Y, Pokemon Sun and Moon, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon, in terms of like, okay, we could do 2-on-2 battles locally, we could do 1-on-1 battles locally, but I think the real interesting thing here is, do they do what he says, go deeper, higher level expression? Does that evolve the formula beyond just the aesthetics and the presentation? Because if it does, if it's more of an open-ended Pokemon game like Jake has mentioned, or if it's more of a hardcore Pokemon game like Gabe has mentioned, then the multiplayer possibilities become far more endless, because co-op in the current state of Pokemon would be sort of awkward. One person, runs into the grass and then they both are sucked into battle. How does that work? But if it was something different, like, are they finally going to take this formula and flip it upside down? I mean, what percentage of this game is different from the last 5, 6, 7 Pokemons? Like, where do we think this falls? Are they going to use the Switch as a chance to completely reevaluate and redesign what a Pokemon game means? Or do we think it's going to be more of sort of that background stuff, the graphics, the sound, maybe some things you can do, and the overall loop of mechanics and gameplay will stay the same?
Split screen Pokemon.
Yeah.
I mean, just like Lego co-op. Oh, this person's in the grass. This person's in the grass. Run, go, go, go.
I just wonder if like this is eventually the first game we get like online, Pokemon battles with, and I say first game loosely because other things exist. Pokkén Tournament is a good example, but
I mean every Pokemon game has online battles.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like in a more traditional console sense. I know that there is like online battles. Like that's why I said
gotcha.
That's why I said it loosely. The way I'm envisioning is like very specific, like like lobbies and all types of like online console features is what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got to think like, do they sort of look at what's going on with the world around them and make more of a service style game, more of a Splatoon, Inkopolis world and a hub where you are able to interact and battle and party up and do things that incorporate more of like the 2017, gaming industry ideas into Pokemon. Continue there. He does say, unlike smartphones, the Switch is not a game device that assumes there's constant network connectivity, so probably hopes of an MMO or something completely massive and online out the window. From their perspective, it's really not that different from DS or 3DS in terms of connectivity. So I love the fact that he says in terms of connectivity, because that at least tells me that he's not saying, hey, it's going to be the same DS or 3DS game, but in terms of connectivity. So not online only in terms of how they have players interacting. Yes, it's going to have to be, one-on-one battles or two-on-two battles or something of that sort, maybe co-op, but I don't think that this means, the game is going to be identical to the DS and 3DS games. I think he's just speaking more in terms of, hey, network-wise, we don't have to get too crazy.
I think another possibility is, I'm going to jump to the quote right before that where he says, can't say that they'll release accessories, but it's a possibility. What if they had, they release like trainer amiibos, and then you could sync your like team of 6 or 3 Pokemon, whatever they end up having it be, to the obviously it's usually 6, but you could just, I don't know if you would just attach 3. But anyways, have your team be on your amiibo, and then you could like take that to your friend's house and scan it on their Switch, and then like have one-on-one battles with like your specific team that you collected and trained on your own, and then bring it over via amiibo. That'd be pretty cool, I think. And I think that'd be a very good like use of amiibo and get people like really excited about it.
Yeah, storing a specific team, sort of how you store a specific loadout on a Splatoon amiibo. That's actually a really good idea, and it would take advantage of, Nintendo's connectivity focus rather than an online-only connectivity focus. I think accessories also got to be thinking Pro Controllers, got to be thinking Joy-Con. I mean, if they did it for Splatoon, they did it for Monster Hunter Double Cross, they got to do it for Pokemon, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge franchise. Well, are they going to do it for Mario Odyssey? I guess that's where if they don't do it for Mario Odyssey, it makes me like wonder if they are going to do it for Pokemon, I guess. But, luckily, I feel like this Pokemon game is a bit of a ways off.
Yeah, for sure.
And unfortunately, I just want to say that I don't think it's going to be way, way different than the 3DS version. I still think it's going to be a pretty simple RPG at the end of it all. But I still think the Pokemon games are like great, and especially for me that like I've been away, I haven't played them for a couple generations, so all these like new Pokemon, like they're new to me, and they might not be new to you, like because you've played these games already. I don't know what they are, so
I think it'd be really cool if they kept the basic mechanics the same, like the battle system and all that, but they just, like I was saying before, made it more like a Breath of the Wild experience where you could actually like go and almost like Pokemon Snap style, not in terms of like being on rails, but see Pokemon like existing in real time, not like, you like hit a wall and then you are taken into battle, but if you could like see the Pokemon in the wild and then run up to them and engage in a battle or something, that'd be super cool, but still keep like the mechanics the same, but just like I was talking about with higher level of expression, make it more immersive so it actually feels like you're in the world as opposed to having it be like 2 separate worlds.
So you're thinking like Xenoblade Chronicles, but with like Pokemon out there instead of mechs and whatnot.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, there's beasts and stuff in Xenoblade, so they're already like out there just in the world doing their thing, and you go up to them and you attack and you initiate battle and stuff. So
yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be cool.
I feel like it is going to be the same battle mechanics. I feel like that, picking your attacks and going through with an accessible RPG system is going to always be there. Looking at another quote, this wasn't directly related to Switch, but it was about augmented reality, and he said that with current AR, even if you say Pikachu is there, no one really thinks that, but that reality is just one step away. We will see the birth of this reality that is another step up from the current Pokemon Go, and I've only mentioned the visual aspect, but you can add haptic and rumble technology to that. Playing in a more realistic way should be possible, so I do think that their focus is going to be expanding the world, making it more vast, making it more of an exciting experience, sort of how Breath of the Wild took the Legend of Zelda and threw you just straight into the world with so much to see and so much to do. I wonder if that's where they spend their time. And, you do have the Joy-Con that have the rumble technology, that have that feedback, and would be able to, more aptly represent throwing a Pokeball or getting hit with an attack or, waiting for the ball to sink in and make sure you lock in that catch. I think that's where they will spend their time. And I wonder, will they go to one version or will they keep 2 versions? The Joy-Con could easily represent the 2 versions of the game, so whichever version you get, your set of mismatched Joy-Con makes sense. I think it's going to be very, very interesting, and fingers crossed that they do take some risks, take some gambles. That sort of seems to be what the Switch is about. It's ironic that the Pokkén company didn't think the Switch would be successful, and now they obviously have to reevaluate that and are hopefully developing something even more awesome, considering the fact that the Switch does have such a groundswell of positivity and of passion behind it. I think that this is the game that a lot of people are waiting for and will increase that audience even more. So hopefully the Pokemon Company is prepared for that. And even though they do have a franchise that has existed for ages and has been very similar, take a risk. It worked for Zelda. Looks like it's working for Mario. Let's do it for Pokemon. Let us know your take in the comments down below. Where do you think Pokemon Switch will go? How do you feel about his comments in regards to deeper, higher level expression, about expressing the world with better graphics and sound, about tackling multiplayer, and about accessories, Pro Controllers, Joy-Con, adapters for some weirdo AR technology. What are they going to do? Jake's Amiibo idea seems great, so let us know what yours are. Thanks again for watching. Fantastic day, everybody. Can't wait for Pokemon Switch, whether it hits in 2018 or beyond. We will be ready for it. Until that time, for myself, Jake, and Gabe, Switch Force out.